Welcome to this YouTube channel. In this video we are going to talk about top 10 animals that live the longest. So before starting this video, like this video, and subscribe to WILDLIFex for future updates. Because of extremely high death rates due to infant mortality, illnesses, predators, bad weather, habitat degradation, or competition for food and shelter, animals living in natural environments seldom reach their full potential age. Here are 10 species that would have the longest lifespans, if they lived in perfect conditions. Macaw. Macaws are members of the parrot family, and are distinguished by their brightly colored feathers. They have a long lifespan and can live to be 60 to 80 years old in the right climate. They live in the rainforests and eat a variety of nuts and seeds. Unfortunately, due to habitat loss and the illegal pet trade, the majority of these majestic birds are endangered in the wild, and a few are even extinct. African elephant. African elephants are the largest living land animals, and one of the oldest, with an estimated lifespan of 70 years. Several features, such as the size and number of teeth, can be used to determine the age of an individual. It's a method that necessitates keen observation and a lot of practice. Females attain breeding age around the age of 10 to 12 years old, and, unlike us, will remain fertile for the rest of their lives. They can give birth to a total of 7 children. Being a mummy elephant, on the other hand, is no simple job. Their pregnancy lasts 22 months, about 3 times longer than a human pregnancy. Longfin eel. Longfin eels can live up to 60 years, but the record for the longest living eel is 106 years. They are native to New Zealand and Australia, where they spend the majority of their time hiding in freshwater streams, before migrating to the Pacific Ocean to breed. They just do this once in their lives and die shortly after. They are slow-growing animals, growing just 1 to 2 centimeters per year, but females can grow to be as long as 73 to 156 centimeters. Longfin eels, like other Anguillidae members, have an uncommon life cycle, in which they develop and mature into fertile adults in fresh water before migrating to the sea to breed. Randomized mating is also ensured by this catadromous breeding scheme, resulting in a panmictic population. The New Zealand longfin eel is a long-lived fish that has been known to live to be 106 years old and weigh up to 24 kilograms. They develop at the slowest rate of any eel studied, just 1 to 2 centimeters per year. Longfin eel aquaculture has been attempted on many occasions. The first were founded in the 1970s and did not last long, with the last farm closing in 1982. The most common reasons for these failures were economic, variable glass eel recruitment, and high farm mortality, death rates. Due to increased awareness of longfin biology, and declining stocks of European eels, Anguilla anguilla, there has been renewed interest in longfin aquaculture since the early 2000s, but no farms have been developed. Galapagos giant tortoise. It's not just the scale of the Galapagos giant tortoises that should be noted, it's also their age. They will live to be well over 100 years old, with the oldest being 152 years old. However, the oldest is not the most well-known. Solitary George was the world's rarest species for a time, since he was the only living Pinta Island tortoise on the islands. He died in 2012, when he was about 100 years old. Giant tortoises, like many of the other species on our list, live in slow motion, munching on grass and other vegetation, basking in the sun, and sleeping for up to 16 hours a day. Red sea urchin. Red sea urchins are thought to be almost immortal since they have been known to live for over 200 years without showing any signs of aging. They are much more likely to be consumed by a predator than to succumb, and a 100-year-old is just as safe and capable of reproducing as a young person. Radiocarbon dating can be used to determine the age of these spiny echinoderms by calculating the levels of carbon-14. This species has a mouth with special jaws on the bottom, oral, surface, Aristotle's lantern. Seaweeds and algae are its favorite food, which it scrapes and tears up from the seafloor. Urchins use cilia bands to collect food from the water column during larval growth. The strong currents carrying an abundance of food have led to the discovery of a rare sedentary lifestyle among red sea urchins, found in the channel adjacent to San Juan Island. Sea urchins are commonly found in groups of 5 to 10. They have the potential to regrow spines that have been lost. The average lifespan is over 30 years, and some specimens have been discovered to be over 200 years old. Red sea urchins are famously voracious kelp eaters, and the grazing fronts are blamed for destroying kelp beds. Urchin grazing pressure is a significant link in a trophic cascade seen frequently along the west coast of North America, in which sea otter predation influences urchin abundance, which influences kelp destruction. The sedentary activity and capture of detrital seaweed in the San Juan Islands is hypothesized to provide a significant habitat and energy source below the photic zone, in comparison to their negative effect on community structure in open coastal kelp beds. The importance of red urchins as ecosystem engineers in temperate rocky, reef environments is highlighted by the diverse ecosystem effects. Koi fish. Japanese koi have an average lifespan of about 40 years, but they can live much longer if kept in the right environment. When one koi called Hanako died in 1977, she was a remarkable 226 years old. By counting growth rings in her measurements, scientists were able to estimate her age. When koi reproduce on their own, they typically do so in the spring and summer. The male will begin to swim alongside the female, nudging her from behind. The eggs are released by the female koi and fall to the pond's bottom, where they remain. The egg is held in place by a sticky outer shell that keeps it from floating around. Despite the fact that the female can produce a large number of spawns, many of the fry die as a result of being consumed by other animals. The fry will hatch from the egg if the egg survives 4 to 7 days on average. Koi, like most fish, reproduce by spawning, in which a female lays a large number of eggs that are fertilized by one or more males. Nurturing the resulting offspring, known as fry, is a difficult and time-consuming task that is normally left to professionals. Despite the fact that a koi breeder can choose the parents they want based on preferred characteristics, the resulting fry have a wide range of color and quality. Except for Antarctica, koi have been inadvertently or intentionally released into the wild on every continent. Within a few generations, they return to their natural amur carp coloration. They are considered an invasive species and a nuisance in many countries. They are classified as noxious fish in the Australian state of Queensland. Since they are continuously stirring up the sediment, koi significantly increase the turbidity of the water. Bowhead whale. Bowhead whales have the longest lifespan of any animal, at over 200 years. However, since they spend their lives in the Arctic and subarctic, and can outlive the researchers who study them, it's not always possible to say how old they are. Harpoon fragments left in the blubber of captured animals may be used to estimate age. One person had harpoon fragments dated back to the 1800s. Another method is to predict lifespan using DNA, with scientists claiming that bowhead whales will live to be 268 years old. Greenland shark. Greenland sharks are the world's longest-lived vertebrates, living between 300 and 500 years. They move at a snail's pace, averaging 0.76 miles per hour. Females cannot achieve sexual maturity until they are 100 to 150 years old, which is a long childhood. Despite their enormous size and long lifespan, scientists have been baffled by these sharks for years. They discovered a new method of estimating age that includes radiocarbon dating the lens of the eye only recently. Every year, new tissues are added to the lens, and the amount of carbon isotope contained in the tissues can be used to determine the age. Ocean quahog. Ocean quahogs are a form of edible clam with a long lifespan. Many will live to see their 400th birthday, and the oldest one ever caught off the coast of Iceland in 2006 was 507 years old. Scientists were able to calculate the age of the shell by counting growth rings on it close to how trees are dated. They can also learn about other topics. Scientists can tell how the oceans have evolved over time by looking at how the shells shape over time. They are a living organism, and a representation of life in a changing world. Immortal jellyfish. Can you imagine what it would be like to be immortal? Going back in time and starting over as an infant instead of dying in old age. This is the stuff of fantasies for us. It's true life for the eternal jellyfish. These incredible creatures begin their lives as planula, which float around in the ocean. They then become static polyps on the seafloor before transforming into swimming medusa. So far, everything has gone according to plan. However, if eternal jellyfish suffer damage or stress as a result of changes in their environment, they will return to the polyp stage and begin again. And if they get the opportunity, they will do it again and again. However, many will not, so they will become dinner for other animals. What do you think about this video? Which of the following top 10 animals that live the longest you find most interesting? Do let us know down in the comment section below. If you enjoyed this video and want to hear from us again, be sure to hit that subscribe button before you go.